Imagine two massive armies colliding in the freezing rain. Cannons roar, men scream. The future of the entire world is being decided right now in the thick mud. But hundreds of miles away, a man stands alone in a very quiet room. He is not worried about the battle. He is not sweating. He is just looking at a simple piece of paper. He does not actually care which king wins the war. Why? Because he has already rigged the game. He will make millions of dollars, no matter who survives. How is that even possible? To understand his amazing secret, you have to understand a hidden rule of money that most people never learn in school. The year is 1815. Europe is on fire. A famous general named Napoleon is trying to conquer everyone. The world is in total chaos. When the world is in chaos, kings get desperate. They need to fight big wars to survive. But fighting a war is incredibly expensive. You have to pay thousands of soldiers. You have to buy heavy guns. You have to feed thousands of hungry horses every single day. Armies are like giant monsters that eat gold. Kings almost never have enough money in their own pockets to feed this monster. So they have to ask for help. They borrow money from rich people. When a king takes your money to fight a war, he gives you a piece of paper in return. This piece of paper is a promise. It says, if you give me $100 today, I will give you back $110 when the war is over. In the financial world, this piece of paper is called a bond, but really, it is just an IOU from the government. It is exactly like if your friend wants to build a giant treehouse but has no wood. He asks you for 10 apples today and promises to give you 12 apples next month. But what if you want your apples back early? You can actually sell that piece of paper to someone else. You can say, hey, my friend owes me 12 apples. Give me 11 apples right now, and you can keep the piece of paper. People buy and sell these IOUs every single day, but there is a catch. If your friend falls out of the tree and breaks his arm, he might never finish the treehouse. You might never get your apples back. The piece of paper becomes worthless. That is called risk. Now meet the man in the quiet room. His name is Nathan. Nathan was a banker, but he was not like any normal banker. He and his 4 brothers did something nobody else had ever done in history. They built a giant financial web across the entire continent. One brother lived in London. Another lived in Paris. The others lived in Frankfurt, Vienna, and Naples. This was their brilliant trick. Think about a store. If you only sell umbrellas, you make a lot of money in the rain, but you go broke in the sun. If you only sell sunglasses, you make money in the sun, but you go broke in the rain. But if you sell both umbrellas and sunglasses, you make money every single day, no matter what the sky does. That is exactly what the brothers did with entire countries. If France lost a war, the brother in Paris might lose his money, but the brother in London would make a massive fortune. Today, we call this diversification. It means you do not put all your eggs in one single basket. If you spread your money into different places, one single disaster can never destroy you. Because the brothers worked together, the family always made a profit. But then came Waterloo. Waterloo was the biggest, bloodiest battle in history. The British army was fighting the French army. Whoever won this battle would rule Europe. Whoever lost would lose their empire forever. Suddenly, Nathan's brilliant system was in extreme danger. Nathan lived in London. Over the years, he had lent a massive mountain of gold to the British army. He held thousands of those government IOUs in his vault. If the British lost the battle, the British government would go completely bankrupt. Their promise to pay Nathan back would be totally useless. His entire fortune would vanish in a single afternoon. When you take a big risk, you can lose everything. But if you are smart, great risk is also the door to great wealth. Nathan was very smart. He knew that the biggest advantage in money is not luck. It is information. Think about it. If you know it is going to rain tomorrow before anyone else does, you can buy all the umbrellas in town while they are cheap. Then, you can sell them for a high price when the big storm hits. Knowing a secret before the rest of the world is the most powerful weapon in investing. Back then, news traveled incredibly slowly. It took days for a messenger on a tired horse to tell the King of England what happened in a faraway battle. Nathan did not want to wait. He built his own private news network. He hired clever spies. He bought the fastest horses. He rented the fastest boats. He even used secret codes and carrier pigeons. He told his men to find out who won the battle and bring the news back before anyone else. When the cannons finally stopped firing at Waterloo, the thick smoke cleared. The British had won. Instantly, Nathan's spy jumped on a fast boat. He raced across the dark ocean through the waves to London. Nathan received the secret news a full day before the King of England even knew his own army had survived. What Nathan did next is completely legendary. He walked into the London stock market. A stock market is just a giant room where people buy and sell those government I owe us. Everyone in the room stopped and watched Nathan closely. All the other investors knew Nathan was a genius. They knew he always had the best spies and the fastest information. If Nathan did something, everyone else copied him. Here is where history gets a little mysterious. Some old stories say Nathan purposely looked sad and started selling a few of his bonds. They say he did this to trick people into thinking the British had lost. Other historians say people were just completely terrified of the unknown, saw him move, and panicked entirely on their own. Because nobody can perfectly prove exactly how it started, we only know the final, absolute result. Pure fear took over the room. People panicked. They thought the British army was destroyed. They thought the British government was ruined. When people are terrified, they stop thinking clearly. They just want to run away. It is exactly like seeing a crowd of people running screaming out of a building. You start running too, even if you do not see a fire. You just want to survive. People will sell things for much less than they are actually worth, just to escape the fear. The price of British bonds crashed to the floor. An IOU that used to cost $100 was suddenly selling for just a few pennies. People were throwing them away like trash. This is the most important lesson in finance. This is the difference between price and value. A diamond is still a diamond, even if a terrified person sells it to you for $1. The price was low, but the real value was still incredibly high. While everyone else was running for the doors, screaming and crying, Nathan stayed very quiet. And he started buying. He bought every single British bond he could get his hands on. He scooped up massive piles of them for completely unbelievable, dirt-cheap prices. The other investors looked at him like he was crazy. They thought he was throwing his money into a blazing fire. But Nathan knew the truth. He knew the British had won. He knew that tomorrow, the British government would be perfectly safe. Their I owe us would be worth solid gold again. The next morning, the king's tired messenger finally rode into London. The official news was announced to the public. The British had won the war. The streets erupted in cheers. People danced in the mud. And then, the investors looked back at the bond market. Instantly, everyone realized the British I owe us were perfectly safe. The prices shot straight up to the sky. Nathan had just multiplied his wealth in a single day. By buying when everyone else was afraid, he became one of the richest men in the history of the world. Nathan did not get lucky. He won because he understood the hidden rules of money that most people completely ignore. He protected himself by spreading his wealth across different countries so one disaster could not ruin him. He spent money to get the best information before anyone else. And most importantly, he completely controlled his emotions. Most normal people buy things when everyone is happy and prices are very high. They follow the crowd. But the greatest investors in the world do the exact opposite. They wait patiently, and they buy when everyone is completely terrified and prices are cheap. The rules of money have not changed since 1815. The kings and emperors are gone, but debt, panic, and opportunity are still here today. The people who understand these rules build wealth. The people who let fear control them give their wealth away. If you enjoyed learning how money really works through incredible moments in history, please subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next story. Now, I want to hear from you. If a massive panic happened in the stock market today and everyone was selling out of fear, what is one valuable thing you would want to buy while it is on sale? Let me know in the comments below.